There is a new study out today that says women become unhappy as they get older. Well, the flip side, men get happier as life goes on. Now, the researchers, a couple of economists, by the way, they say it happens when we each turn 48. And of the major factors coming down, it's all about money. Now, what's that all about? We're going to debate it. Marc Rudov is a no-nonsense man, and Tracy Burns, our Fox Business reporter, joins me to tell us what's really going on. Tracy, is this true?
Come on.
I mean, come on.
All right, first of all,
don't get me started.
I know you've missed me, Marc. First of all, this study was conducted by mostly men. And when men conduct anything, they talk about their finances because men judge themselves by the size of their wallet, toys, dare I say. So, you put all your toys together in a parking lot and it makes you happy. If they were to ask other questions in this study about spirituality, about the other aspects of our lives, that women would have taken over. I mean, first of all, a woman hits her sexual prime at 35. Things get much better for us.
Hey, I'm 35. This is good for me. All right, Marc, all right, go nuts, because I know you're going to go nuts.
Well, first of all, you're presuming that unhappiness in women begins in middle age. I'd say it starts when she's a little girl, when she's taught that happiness derives from shoes, jewelry, boob jobs, and pedestals. And what's interesting, oh, come on, Alexis, and then you have boys who are taught that they're supposed to make girls happy. I was on the radio 2 weeks ago in Greensboro, North Carolina, and the host related a story. He overheard his son and daughter talking. So brother goes to sister and says, "How come you always have money and I don't?" And she says, "That's simple. I have a boyfriend and you have a girlfriend." The fact of the matter is, boys are taught that they're supposed to make women happy.
No, he's actually living in the dark ages.
There's that.
I'm not living in the dark ages. This is reality. And if either of you women has ever dated women, you would know what I'm talking about. But you pretend that you don't know what I'm talking about.
All right, Marc,
so what's happening in middle age? What's happening in middle age here is that women who bring 70% of divorces are divorcing the men that they never wanted to marry to begin with, and so now that's what's making the men happy.
That's interesting because we control the household spending, don't we? Because we're working more than ever. All right, let's get back to the survey, though, all right? Because basically what they're saying is that we are happier in our early adult life and that women are more likely than men to fulfill their aspirations earlier related to material goods and family. That is true, wouldn't you say, Tracy? And a good thing. It takes men longer to figure out what they want to do in life.
Well, I just think this whole notion of basing your happiness on material goods is part of the problem, hence part of the reason that this thing was run by men in the first place. If there were women on the panel,
Tracy.
If there were women on the panel, they would, I mean, ask any woman if she would choose her car over her children, and she'd take the kids any day, whereas I would question a lot of men out there, quite frankly.
Tracy, I can't believe what I just heard you say. There's a reason that
women live longer, Marc. Let me tell you. It is because we are stronger and we are happier at the end of the day than most men, and that is factual, and you know it.
When men are married to women who scream like you, they just want to die sooner.
I'm not screaming
when you have women going around,
Marc, you're divorced.
Tracy,
she left you. Let's put that on the table if you want to play this game.
Tracy,
yes.
When women go around comparing their engagement rings to show off who got the most carats,
I don't know where you
tell me
find
that
these
women don't compete.
Marc, I don't know where you find these women. The women
on
I know
material
do not
possessions.
care about that kind of stuff, Marc.
All right,
you gotta get out more.
Women compete on houses, divorce settlements, carrots, country clubs. Women compete on money all the time. Give me a break.
Well,
wait a second.
Women in your life, buddy.
Well, Marc, wait a second. The stature of a lot of men is measured in the car they drive, the golf country club they belong to, and very much the place they live in. You have to admit that.
And whether or not their wives are staying at home and not working. That's exactly what I said at the beginning. That's because men are taught that men are taught that they have to make women happy. The fact of the matter is, you can't make anybody happy. You have to make yourself happy. Happiness is a byproduct of achievement. So for women to say that they're unhappy, it's their own fault. Anybody who says he's unhappy, it's his own fault.
Mark,
Everybody has to make himself or herself
You're
happy.
giving me such a bloody headache. Yeah, I mean, where are you from? Where are you from? Dear Lord, I would never in a million years teach my girls that they have to grow up to be reliant on a man, as you can well imagine. I would never teach my son that he should be attracted.
But Tracy, you're the same one. You're the same one who bragged that she's so strong and so tough and doesn't need a man's money. Yet you're taking alimony.
I have 3 children.
Okay, Mark.
You know what?
So, but you don't need a man's money.
All right, well, that's it.
New Year's Eve. People getting ready to party, and police, by the way, gearing up to nail drunk drivers, and controversy today over the government's new anti-drunk driving campaign.
There's no way to hide it. If you drive drunk, we will find you. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement and cracking down like never before.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
Sir, have you been drinking this evening? Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
Sir, notice that it's men and only men getting caught for drunk driving in those commercials. And our next guest says the government is attacking and profiling men. He's Marc Rudov, the no-nonsense man. Vicki Ziegler disagrees. She's an attorney, and she's on set with us here. Marc, what is your point in this? You think the government is profiling men?
Duh. When you go to your New Year's Eve party tonight, look around. Look at who's drinking and getting drunk. It will be the women. But that's not the way it works when the U.S. government gets involved. When a woman drinks and drives, she's a feline. But when a man drinks and drives, he's a felon. And nobody ever got fired for bashing men, so the U.S. Department of Transportation is spending $7 million to produce these PSAs. And it's absolute nonsense.
Vicki, come on. You got beat Marc like a rented mule. I mean, let's be realistic here. It is mostly men who get caught for drunk driving.
Thank you, Brian. Let me tell you what the statistics are at this point. Between 21 and 35, the demographics shown they're the biggest high-risk individuals in this country. Now, you know that, Marc, that's a fact, and that comes from the FARs. Those are the statistics.
Now, I will take Marc's side. Maybe that's because the men are driving.
Well, sometimes they are driving, but I'm not saying women aren't getting convicted of driving under the influence and causing tragedies. That's not what we're saying. These campaigns are presently targeting men, that demographic. Why? Not to degrade them, but to teach them, enlighten them about what not to do. And Marc, perhaps you didn't see the recent campaign within the last 2 years that showed a female drinking at a party, getting into a vehicle as the operator, and getting into an accident. So this is certainly not a sexist video. This is not a sexist campaign. This is about teaching people not to drink and drive. Why? 13,000 people in this country die because of drinking and driving accidents. What does that mean? 37 a day, 40 every minute.
I'm glad you think so, Vicki, but you have it exactly backwards. Women are the ones who drink the most, and women are the ones who are protected by our government. As I said before, this government does not want to show women in a bad light. Can you imagine the roles reversed, where a cop goes up to a woman's car, opens up the door, and white wine pours out, and then he cuffs her and puts her in the back of a squad car? That would never happen because she might break a nail.
Marc, you're talking about two different things here. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, I'm
is
not.
It about the
I can't stop that.
Is it about
Women
the
are
commercial
drinking
that
and
you're upset
driving.
with? Marc, is it the commercial that you're upset with, or the fact that the demographics prove that 21 to 34-year-old males in this country, Caucasian and Hispanic, happen to be the bulk of where they're trying to focus on?
Yeah, all the men in the commercial were Caucasian who got caught for drunk driving. I guess under your theory, we could have a racial discussion about this.
Exactly. Vicki's basically saying she endorses profiling. If the government wants to eliminate drunk driving... Yes, you are. If the government wants to eliminate drunk driving, the government should be talking to all people, because all people are guilty of drinking and driving, all races and both genders.
Marc,
and
they
that's
are
not
talking
what the
to all
government's
people.
doing,
That's what TV is about. It's getting to the masses.
Nobody will ever get fired. Nobody will ever get fired for bashing men, and that's why these commercials are the way they are, Vicki, and you know it.
No, actually, you're 100% wrong.
Well, you know what? We got to leave it there.
I'm not 100% wrong, Vicki.
Well, listen, we got to leave it there. Marc, get on the trolley. Vicky, take the subway.
Don't drink and drive.
Party, but just, ride the electric cars and the subways. Thank you very much, Marc Rudov, the no-nonsense man, for coming on. Vicky Ziegler, attorney, thank you very much for coming on as well. And if I offended owners of rented mules at the beginning of the segment, I apologize. I know rented mules are also a protected class.